Yeah.
Hey yo, man, it's your time. And fuck poverty. Get this money, man.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Phil and Leroy the Judgmental Podcast,
What's up, everybody? This your boy Phil.
and I'm Leroy. Here's another viral video where a man says he works 70 hours a week to pay off all his girlfriend bills so she don't have to work. Here's the video. Now this is his girlfriend now, not his wife.
Why we don't go 50-50 in our relationship?
So we don't go 50-50 in our relationship because I work 70 hours a week and I pay all her bills. She a stay-at-home girlfriend because we don't got no kids. We live separately, so I pay the bills at her house and my house. Take care of her.
Raheem is coming to her crib and laid up and giving her shit and pounding her out while this motherfucker is sitting there going to work 70 hours a week.
Like the queen she is. And when you do stuff, what
She has a pretty face too.
you do? Just let them know what you do to pack my lunch and stuff like that.
Yeah, sometimes I'll pack him like a little Lunchable to go in his lunchbox, or
So he paying your bills and your rent, and the only thing you can make him is a fucking Lunchable. Are Lunchables the same as it was back in the day? Them little portions of food.
Yep.
Oh shit! I'll be like, you gotta be kidding me, right? So you don't do anything all day long. At least you can make me a damn club sandwich. But you gonna pack me a little Lunchable, and his big ass is how many Lunchables is it?
You gonna probably need about 8 of them Jones. Ain't nothing there to fill no grown ass man up. And he overweight like that. He need about 8 of them joints.
You make the best Lunchables.
I know. You like the pizza ones or you like the sandwich ones?
She don't make them. They're already made. You just throw them in the oven. Like, what the hell?
Crackers in it and the cheese. And
Yeah, the
ham.
little sandwich. Yeah.
I remember when Lunchables first came out. I think I was like in junior high when Lunchables first came out. It was like the big thing that to have a Lunchable. Then you'll get it, and it always be these little portions of food.
Yep. Damn, 2 cookies.
Yeah.
Fucking fake ass pizza. Or some crackers with a slice of cheese and ham on it.
Right.
Cracker
The
sandwich.
Capri Sun.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the Capri Sun, you have got to be kidding me. From what they said, people was thinking, I got this also from Anton Daniels, and people were saying that this was fake, but they were on a show together or something, and they were saying the same thing.
Usually,
Capri Sun, you got to be kidding me.
you gotta buy him his own self something else because he act like, I don't know. Sometimes he act like he's still hungry after that, which I don't know why.
Yeah, he hungry
No
from that
shit.
little Lunchable, right?
My man clearly over 300 pounds. He talking about a damn Lunchable.
Hungry after I just packed you a lunch.
My check go direct deposit to her account every week. I don't want her
Oh, you got to be kidding me. Raheem is over there wearing that thing out.
to feel like she ever got to go out and work for anything. So I got my stuff going direct deposit straight to her. If y'all men out there want,
So, okay, your stuff is going to her account. What are you doing? Are you asking her for money for your stuff?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, man. It ain't worth it, sir. Now, if this was your wife or something, that's a whole different subject, but it ain't worth it. They living in separate houses. She got a man coming in there while you working and using your electricity, using your internet, and pounding her out.
a pretty woman, y'all gotta do stuff like this. Is this how you get them?
If you want a
Oh
good
my
woman
God.
in your life, why would you not want to pay for everything she has, pay her bills, get her toes,
Okay, but that's not his wife. That y'all just going together. Y'all don't even live together.
nails, stuff done? I just feel like a real man would do that
There you go with that
This
real
real
man
man
shit.
shit.
Right.
for his woman, especially if he love her. You love me, right?
I love you. Kiss me, man. Kiss me good. No, kiss me on the lips.
Not right now.
No, kiss me on the lips.
Stop.
Oh my god.
Shout out to the simps here. She can't even kiss him on the lips. And you paying all her bills. You paying her bills, and your work money goes into her account. So you got to say, babe, I need $300 to pay my bill or my car insurance or something like that. And what if she tell you no? What the
I
hell?
don't think he's asking her for that. I think she's just paying all of that. His money going into the account. She paying all the bills with it. Now, if you want to go to some other shit, like you want to go to a sporting event or he want to go out to drink, whatever, that's when he might have to ask her for some money.
Oh, you got to be kidding
New
me.
outfit or new clothes or some shit, then he got to ask.
Oh shit, no. A girlfriend. A girlfriend, and they don't even live together.
Yep.
Now we going to Washington, D.C., where 22-year-old Tiffany Taylor Gray is charged with first-degree murder of a 53-year-old Fasil Tiki Mariam. She used his severed thumb to steal money from his banking account and pay for her Uber rides, marijuana, and alcohol. Here's the report. Sound like something that she done got off a TV show that you cut somebody's
God
finger
damn.
off. And here's the report.
Prosecutors have filed charges against two women who investigators say gained access to a dead man's Cash App by cutting off his finger.
Investigators tell us Audrey Miller and Tiffany Taylor Gray viciously attacked the man inside his Northwest D.C. apartment back in April, then cut off the man's thumb, stole his phone, and cleaned up the crime scene. News 4's Paul Wagner walks us through this disturbing case.
In a 49-page affidavit filed in D.C. Superior Court, investigators laid out a gruesome and diabolical scheme. The woman on the left, listed as suspect number 1, police say, is 19-year-old Audrey Miller. The woman on the right, listed as suspect number 2, is 22-year-old Tiffany Taylor Gray. According to the court affidavit, Gray and the victim, Fasil Teklemariam, knew each other. The affidavit says one witness told police the 53-year-old was her sugar daddy. In these two photos, police say suspect number 1, Audrey Miller, and Teklemariam are seen together entering his apartment on April 1st. D.C. police believe Fasil Teklemariam had been dead inside his third-floor apartment here on Peabody Street Northwest for about 4 days before his body was discovered. According to a court affidavit filed in the case, he had suffered blunt force trauma to the head, he'd been stabbed, and his right thumb had been cut off. A witness told police that the thumb was used to gain access to a Cash App.
I don't think that he was a sugar daddy. I just think he just had these young girls and he threw them a couple of dollars and he had relations with them. Because right. if he was spending money on them like that, or the main one, why would they kill him? Mm-hmm. And cut off his thumb? Because I'm like, well, look, why would I mess him up? If he gonna sit up there and keep spending money on me, exactly. I'm gonna stay. So I believe that some old young girls he done met somewhere, he roll around with them every now and then. And when they come over, he throw them a couple of dollars like that, but he wasn't spending money on them like that.
Right.
And to buy liquor and drugs. Included in the court affidavit, investigators attached numerous photos from surveillance cameras mounted outside 2 entrances to the building, as well as the foyer and the hallway leading to the victim's apartment. Police say 2 men, one they have identified but not charged, were seen with the 2 women coming and going from the building over several days. Investigators say the suspects used the victim's key fob to get into the building and were seen carrying items out of the apartment. There was also evidence suggesting cleaning agents had been used to conceal or eliminate evidence. Police say they got a couple of breaks in the case. Last year, Teklemariam filed a complaint with D.C. police claiming suspect number 2, Tiffany Taylor Gray, had taken his phone and used it to steal $1,800 from his Cash App. Break number 2.
Yep. She came over there one day and stole his damn phone. He wasn't no damn sugar daddy.
Came when investigators learned Teklemariam's cell phone last pinged from a tower in College Park, not far from where Gray rented an apartment. A law enforcement source familiar with the investigation says the claim Teclamariam was Gray's sugar daddy has so far not been verified.
See, because it's not true.
Investigators believe the victim's severed thumb was used to access his phone. To date, investigators have not found the victim's thumb or the electronics stolen from his home. Audrey Miller is locked up in the D.C. jail and is waiting a preliminary hearing. Gray is in custody in Prince George's County, where she was arrested last week. In the district, Paul Wagner, News 4.
News 4 has so far been unable to reach any of the victims' family members.
Yeah, some little young girl she didn't met in the bar or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he roll around with him, give him a couple of dollars. Ain't nowhere in the world. If he was spending money on them like that, she wouldn't have killed him. All right, we going to Greenville, Georgia. The Georgia Department of Corrections is working to get answers after a deadly double shooting that took place at Smith State Prison. According to the GDC, offender Jaquarius Hart shot and killed a food service worker, Arian Grace, before turning a gun on himself. Now here's the report.
There are growing questions surrounding a worker's murder inside a Georgia State prison over the weekend.
Investigators say an inmate managed to get a gun inside Smith State Prison and then killed the kitchen staffer before turning the gun on himself. Tonight, investigators say they believe the inmate and victim had a relationship. Fox 5's Rob DiRienzo has been digging into the details of this very
Here go these women working in a male prison. I don't get it.
alarming story, Rob.
Yeah, and the biggest concern tonight is people really aren't sure about how that inmate managed to get his hands on a gun behind bars at one of the state's maximum security prisons and then use it. The Department of Corrections still
maximum security prison, and he had a gun.
Does not have an explanation for us tonight, but we've since learned that the kitchen employee killed early Sunday morning was just 24 years old.
24-year-old young girl working in a prison with these men, like we always say, that sit around and read romance novels and talk to each other how to game women.
Mm-hmm.
And you got this 24-year-old young lady that's working in a, come on now, no.
The Georgia Department of Corrections says inmate Jaquarius Hart shot the Aramark food service worker inside Smith State Prison in southeast Georgia early Sunday morning. She's been identified as 24-year-old Arian Grace. The prison says Hart then turned the gun on himself.
That, to me, is shocking to the conscious, and I hope that this is a wake-up call for the Georgia Department of Corrections.
Joshua Schiffer has practiced criminal law in Georgia for 2 decades. He says this incident demonstrates a complete failure by the Department of Corrections leaders.
This institution, Smith, is a notorious institution because it's a high-security institution dealing with some of Georgia's most dangerous and threatening inmates.
Back in October, investigators say an inmate there shanked 42-year-old guard Robert Clark to death from behind. Earlier last year, the GBI charged the prison's warden in a sprawling contraband conspiracy. Hart was serving time for voluntary manslaughter and aggravated battery from a 2015 case out of Carroll County. His earliest release date would have been 2043.
This wasn't a shank or a piece of wood or a razor blade. This was a firearm with ammunition, and everybody needs to realize how dangerous this situation was and how indefensible this death is.
The entire state correctional system has been under a years-long federal investigation into allegations of civil rights abuses. The state legislature just formed a committee to review it from top to bottom.
This example is an unfortunate reflection of what's happening in Georgia prisons as a whole.
Just a little while ago, a spokesperson for the prisons told us they believe Hart and Grace had a romantic relationship. They say he did leave behind a suicide note, but there is still no clear answer about how that gun got into a Supermax facility at this point. I'm Rob DiRienzo, Fox 5 News.
All right.
Well, the second report is they found the gun. Here's the report on that.
Right now, the Georgia Department of Corrections is working to get answers. They want to know how an inmate was able to get a gun, shoot and kill a food service worker at Smith State Prison before turning the gun on himself. It happened over the weekend. WJCL 22 News' Brooke Butler has been in touch with the GDC as well as civil rights advocates. She joins us now live in the studio. And Brooke, we're learning the victim and the offender were in a personal relationship.
Yeah, Shannon, the Department of Corrections made that announcement today. The department also said it found a suicide note that appears to have been left by the inmate. But civil rights advocates say they want to know how a gun got into the prison in the first place.
This was the tipping point right here.
Early Sunday morning at Smith State Prison in Glenville, the Georgia Department of Corrections says inmate Jadricus Hart shot and killed 24-year-old food service worker Ariane Grace before shooting himself.
I've briefly spoken with.
They walk by. Hey, beautiful. How you doing today? Oh, you look so nice today. Uh-huh. And get to talking to her, and then all of a sudden she sleeping with him inside a closet or something like that.
Yep, they got all day to come on with the most game than anybody.
Yep. No.
The sister of Miss Grace, and they are understandably upset.
The GDC says it appears the two were in a personal relationship. The Corrections Department says it has recovered the gun used. It's now working to learn how the firearm got into the prison to begin with.
I don't think they've ever had anything like this happen before inside of a facility.
Brian Randolph is with the Human and Civil Rights Coalition of Georgia. He tells me he actually contacted the GDC last year, telling them he heard a gun was in the prison.
So we were tipped off in May of last year.
So May of last year, you heard that it was a gun on the premises, that one of the prisoners had a gun. So I'm assuming the gun may have came from one of the COs. Like some COs carry guns, right?
I think they have guards, but I don't think the CEOs that go inside with the inmates carry guns because, it's a liability if one of them get cracked upside the head and the gun get taken from them.
Right. So, well, if there's a gun on the premises and you ain't do a sweep to find this gun, that don't make any sense.
A possible weapon that's been dropped off via a drone.
He says he sent.
Okay, that drone shit again.
That's bullshit too. Most of the time, you have an armed guy in a fucking tower with a gun. You can see a fucking drone fly over. I think they got the remote control in the tower controlling the drone.
Mm-hmm.
This text message to GDC's general counsel telling her exactly what he was told.
We never heard anything else about it.
We reached out to the GDC asking them about this. They said, quote, that was investigated by our Office of Professional Standards and no leads were developed.
No sweep, no prison sweep or whatever. So they just let it go.
Randolph argues GDC should have tried harder.
I guess, my question is the next time when they get another one in, how many more people are going to get killed besides two?
Advocates believe the violence inside Smith State Prison is caused in part by understaffing. Randolph believes this latest incident will likely only make matters worse when it comes to hiring.
Nobody's going to go and work in these places.
I've reached out to the governor's office asking for a response to this. I haven't heard anything back just yet. And Shannon, this is the second staff death at Smith State Prison in less than a year. You may remember back in October, an inmate assaulted a corrections officer with a homemade weapon. Back to you.
All right, Brooke, thanks so much. Now, the offender who GDC says killed the food service worker was serving 20 years for voluntary manslaughter.
A damn drone dropping a 45 off and nobody seen this drone.
No, I said that's bullshit.
And like you said, they got towers and guards with guns on a tower looking over everything. So nobody seen this drone flying around and dropping off a gun. Yeah, right. Now it's your segment. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Philip Seving. Ladies and gentlemen, Philip is the only parent of the Judgmental podcast, and we'll play reports or clips for him, and he'll give him his perspective as a parent. Now, the first one is shout out to our boy Isaiah Carey from Houston Fox 26. His segment, a show, the Isaiah Factor. He came up as old school parent and still effective. He plays something and they discuss it with people. And I want Philip, the only parent of the Judgmental podcast, to give his point. Here's the report.
Every parent's single style of discipline varies.
Now you know Mr. Carey here. He got that look that he'll whoop a kid's ass in a heartbeat. He ain't playing around. And he from the South. Well, I guess he from the South. Oh, he whoop plenty of ass.
Parents bring back old school discipline. That's the question tonight.
Don't let that smooth voice fool you, because when he get in the house, it's on.
Now, let's take a look at this video. It's making the rounds, and it was posted on Brutal X Fights page. Take a look. According to the caption, a father was taking it to his son with a belt after getting caught stealing. That child was allegedly stealing. Is this the kind of discipline needed for kids who take things too far or not? According to the
Goddamn merry-go-round of an ass whooping.
Yeah.
Just spin him around,
the
whacking
child was
his
caught
ass.
stealing, and the father wanted him to stop. Joining us to talk about it, therapist Dr. Christine Belliard and parents Tiffany Purnell, David Settle, and Jay Bradley. So, Jay, let's begin with you. When you see this video, looks pretty brutal, pretty bad.
And why is he laughing with all his teeth out? Fuck is wrong with him?
Man, that was my childhood, man.
That's why he laughing. He say, "Well, ain't nothing wrong with that." Well,
Yeah,
my
he ain't
thing,
lying though. He ain't a lying because that's what we saw growing up, and that's what we lived through growing up. But there ain't
My
no reason to smile about it.
my thing is, like you just said, but my thing is, why are you recording this shit? Who gets to a point where I'm gonna record two young boys getting their ass whooped like that by their dad? Why would I pull out my camera for something like that? That don't make any sense to me. That's my point. Why are you recording shit like this?
Because they want the attention. They want the following, attention online, the views. They want all that.
And like legit, I remember I stole some Starburst from a Winn-Dixie, man. My mom was like, "Where did you get that from?" We were in the car. She smelled the Starburst. She took me back, told me I was gonna get arrested. I had to take the candy back. I don't agree with that. I don't spank my kids. However, you need to find a way that is going to have an impact that's long term with your children.
Well, you thought it was wrong. I don't know why that people just don't admit that.
He's an
Like,
idiot because it came on after the beating. He was cracking up, laughing with all his teeth out his mouth. Now he's saying, "Well, I don't beat my kids." You know what I mean? But you have to do something to make it a long term effect. Yeah, it's going to
right.
mess with his mentals.
Right. So in other words, like you just said, that he just thought that was wrong that the father did that, but he don't want to admit it for some unknown reason.
He's playing on the borderline. That's what it is. So he don't offend nobody.
Mm-hmm. Or offend his mom if he
Right,
say, well, look,
right.
I don't agree with looking as an adult. I don't agree with that because I don't spank my kids like that.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, he playing both sides of the fence because that'll offend somebody, like you said.
I choose to
Oh, I'm sorry. I talk too much. It's your segment.
differently, but I never stole, and that was that followed me thinking I was gonna get arrested at the grocery store. But I think with little boys, man, you have to make an impact that's gonna last long term. That's not my choice, but if that's your child.
Why is that?
Because the study already came out that said majority of the dudes that's locked up in jail all got their ass whooped as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So how is that a long-term effect to make you say no? A beating is not going to make you say no. It's just going to make you. Oh well, some kids going to be scared the rest of the time and they won't steal. Other kids are just going to get better slick at not getting caught.
Right. And suppose you have a kid that just be like, well, look, I did this once and I got my ass whooped, so I'm gonna be more cunning and conniving.
Right. How about you give your kid allowance, make him do chores, that way he ain't got to steal. How about you just buy this fucking candy for the kid? He ain't got to steal. To the point where your son got to steal candy knowing it's wrong, but he want the candy that bad. That's on the parent. That's not on the kid.
I was reading Raekwon the Shelf's book from Staircase to the Stage, and he talked about how in his apartment building that he was a little kid. I guess he had to be maybe 11, 12, 13 years old, and the bigger kids start throwing parties and down below, like at nighttime and stuff. This is like when raps just started coming more popular or whatever. And the bigger kids would throw parties and stuff downstairs, so he would go, and he would go by sneaking out his apartment through the fire escape. And he said his mom caught him a couple of times and got a beating. So he didn't care. He said it didn't bother him because he said, Dad, I just been more, like you said, I just get more sneaky about it. And he said, like, well, look, if I came in, my mom caught me, I already knew I was going to get an ass whooping. I didn't care.
Oh, man, that's your choice.
And sometimes you can't simply have a conversation.
Hey, he probably had plenty of conversations before that.
Yeah,
That's the last conversation.
Then why does the kid still keep stealing then? If he, oh, I'm sorry, this is your segment, but.
Conversation. You know, we not saying that. You didn't see the first conversation, but he gonna remember that talking to.
Yeah, that was taken out of context,
man, look,
damn it.
I
don't know what happened before that.
Yeah.
So if I had a child and my child stole once and I had a conversation about them stealing and we had and the kid stole again, that is something going on there. And
Right.
I don't think a ass whooping in front of people like that is going to help whatever's something going on psychologically.
Right. And it's all mental mind games. Because you can try, and like I said, it'll work on some kids. You can try to beat the fear into them to not do it again. But other kids, you gonna beat them, they're gonna lick their wounds, and they're just gonna get sharper at not getting caught.
Right.
Right. He was a conversationalist.
Let's hear from you as a parent.
So I definitely grew up in the spare the rod, spoil the child. And I'm not opposed to sparing the rod when it's necessary. But this is so far-fetched. And I'm a firm believer.
So in other words, she said, yeah, I beat my kids' ass.
That when it comes to
they so professional and they words.
They choosing their words carefully.
Oh, they don't want Houston Child Protective Service. They get on them.
It is a direct reflection of our own values and morals. So if this is what his values and morals are, just imagine what this cycle is going to be after this moment. This is going to be the lasting effect of what he just saw of going viral. And that's not something that I can agree with.
All right, David, your thoughts.
Well, she pretty much just said what we was just talking about. Like, ain't nothing wrong with the ass whooping, but somebody recorded that shit and posted it online. That's the problem.
See, the problem is too, as a man, society don't expect you to beat your kids because then they call it abuse.
Right.
But remember when them kids was wilding out and the mom was out there and she was beating on her kid in the streets and it was recorded and went viral? It was on every news station. They were saying, "Good job, mom." You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like you guys. I probably experienced my fair share of beatings and whoopings, you know, with the racetracks and the extension cords and the switches. And, you know, early in my parenting, I was a big proponent of that as well, right? But as you get older, as I got older, as you know more, you do better, right?
So you felt it was wrong that you got beat by hot tracks and all this and that. I don't know why you just don't say it, sir.
Yeah. And so I've chosen to take a different route with my kids that is a lot more effective, right? And
what has been effective for you other than something like that, what we're seeing in the video?
I heard a quote one time that says, work is the cure for bad character, right? So I'm giving my kids more chores, right? I'm getting out there with the lawnmower. You taking out the trash. We're going to find different ways for you to work this off, right? And have these types of conversations. Like Jay said, man.
Like a work release program?
Listen, work release, man. Look, I'm not just going to work.
Well, you just said that.
So you're going to have to work your way out of that punishment. And I feel you, too. I'm big on spare the rod, spoil the child. But, a lot of people take that out of context. Right. Like, that rod, like, if we go back to the Bible days, that rod was used to protect the sheep from its enemies, right? And it was also used to redirect them, to bring them back into the fold gently. Right? Like, they used that rod to correct them, redirect them, discipline them. So I just think that there's other ways. And sometimes...
Yeah, I always felt as though that verse was out of context when people say that. That don't mean that you want to spoil your child if you don't whoop their ass. That rod could have been 100 of different things, like he said.
We just lean on spanking as a first resort. It kind of gets kind of lazy.
David, it's gonna be a pastor this Sunday. Use that as a sermon.
It's definitely the easiest, laziest route out.
Your thoughts on this?
Well, I do want to bring in a clinical perspective. Just like many of you all, I had the same upbringing. My mother, father, yelled a lot, we'd get spanked. But what's interesting, most clients that are coming in, some of what they're dealing with is how they were raised. Trying to get that voice out of their head, the yelling, the
What you said about the people that's in jail.
public shame, trying to find their own voice. So I do think when we think about our experiences, a lot of us are really trying to process, how do I make sense? Like you were saying, I want to direct. I believe this father wants the best for his child.
Yeah, I do too.
But then think about it. What if an officer came in? He could have went to jail, perpetuated just what he didn't want his son to go through. So I think it's important to think about resources.
I doubt that.
And I agree.
But like you said, that a cop going to see a father chastising his son like that and going to arrest him.
I think the cop would tell him to stop. But I think if somebody reported, then the cop would arrest them. Like if a cop walked up and just saw somebody getting their kids stealing and got their ass beat, I don't think the cop would. He probably say, "All right, now that's enough," or "Calm down," or something like that. But if somebody called the cops and say, "Hey, I see this dad whooping his kid ass," when the cop get there, he's going to arrest him because now he got a witness that's going to say, "Well, this is what I saw." You know what I mean?
Right.
If you know better, you do better. And there are better ways for us. I'm not going to go into the whole should you spank or not. The biggest thing is, what are our intentions and what's the impact?
And many of us are talking about spirit.
Why not go into it? You a therapist.
Yeah.
The rod, spoil the
You're a
child.
bullshit therapist. You don't want to tell the world for free. You want to know the details. You need to pay a what's the name, a appointment fee or something.
About the biblical perspective, but what you see there is derived from slavery.
Right.
Well, we said that all the time.
What was I making that point? I don't know if I want to go there.
But that's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah.
Because it was. We were supposed to be good. So I make you good, and I'm gonna actually beat you before they beat you. And so a lot of our disciplining.
Now we all supposed to be from Africa, right? Now we looked at many stuff about ancient Africa and all this type of stuff. Where was it that you read that if somebody got out of line that they got a twig or
nowhere?
Exactly.
All that come up when they start talking about slavery. Before slavery, nobody was getting their ass whooped like that. Maybe slave was, but other than slaves, people was not whooping the shit out of their kids like that.
Right. Well, go out there in the desert and bring me back a twig or a piece of tree and beat the kid with the tree. Ain't nothing like that exist over there. Like you said.
I think a lot of these parents that do that and go to the extremes, they got a lot of mental problems and frustrations built up and they taking it out on their kid. Shit, even if because I was saying like my mom. There's three of us boys. We all real close in age. Roughhousing, playing wrestling. That was what we always did. So if you tell us we can't go outside and we're doing that in the house and we break something, why should we get our ass whipped? If you would have just let us outside, we wouldn't have been able to break nothing inside. Kids, grown up boys are going to do shit. We're going to play with nunchucks. We're going to wrestle. We're going to play fight. We're going to do all that shit. And if they can't go outside, they're going to do it inside. Whereas a high chance something might get broke.
Practices we see as cultural. And I also think about the parent's perspective. I don't want to be seen as a bad parent. What's the reflection on me? So I'm going to show everybody that I'm in charge and I have control.
Right.
So you're exactly right. It's the residual effects of slavery for sure.
All right. Go ahead.
I think you can, so with my kids, man, they already know their punishment for something before they do whatever it is, right? So we've already set boundaries of what's going to happen. So there's not a conversation of, oh, you need to get a spanking, this and that. Like, hey, you didn't do this. Yeah, Dad, I know. Okay. And I think at the end of the day, if you're doing it in anger, I never want my kids to see violence because I'm upset, right? Because what that does later on is when they get upset, then they go get violent. If I'm showing them, hey, you know what the punishment is? So we're talking about it on Wednesday. Friday, we're going to talk about what your punishment's going to be. And then that way they can think about it. And when we sit down, they already give me, yeah, Dad, I know I'm going to be grounded for the next week. I understand that. The boundaries are already set.
Right. And I just want to,
really quick
on that. I just want to share that what's
She
important.
got all the talk now, but when she had the floor, she act like she didn't want to talk.
So if you know that you're upset, it takes us 15 minutes to calm down. So calm yourself before, because we see a lot of parents who end up in jail or prison because they really were just too upset to discipline.
Only men.
Get your daiquiri and relax. Ask yourself.
They do not. Women do not go to jail for beating their kids.
No.
Unless they put him in the hospital or some shit, but a fucking ass whooping with a extension cord or a racetrack, like my man was saying, that's abuse. But ain't nobody going to jail for that. But if it was a dude doing it, he'd be in jail.
Right. Well, your next segment, I gotta talk more about it, give you the background. It's Teen Mom. Teen Mom, the next chapter. They call it the next chapter because nobody on the show is a damn teenager other than the kids that they had. They're teenagers now. So we got Cheyenne and Cory. Cheyenne and Cory, they came on the show when people was complaining about how it wasn't no black people on Teen Mom. So they just threw these people in. So they weren't teenagers. They probably was in like their mid-20s, early to mid-20s when they came on the show. So they met on that the challenge show. And they met on a challenge show, and they had it. They were together for a little while, and they had a kid together. I guess the kid would be about, that girl should be about 5, 6 around that time. So Cory is from, just let you know that Cory is from Michigan. So he just lives in LA by himself. He doesn't have any family there. All his family is in Michigan, and Cheyenne is from the LA area. So here's the scenario on this show where Cory wants to take the daughter to Michigan to be with his family on Christmas because they never, experienced Christmas with the kid together. So here's the scenario. Here's the scene. Here's the scene that is happening, and you give your thoughts.
I wanted to come over and talk to you about me having Ryder for Christmas this year. We'll fly to Michigan, so basically I need her for like 10 days.
So her whole Christmas break.
Yeah. I'm gonna be real with you, the trip's already booked.
When did you book? Because Christmas is now. I mean, we're in December, so.
Yeah, I booked a couple months ago.
And you didn't think maybe to tell me then?
I probably should have asked you first. Well, I think the biggest thing is that usually you've had her for Christmas.
No.
Yeah, you've had her for Christmas.
We share. We split. You'll get her like Christmas Eve, I'll have her Christmas morning, you come get her Christmas night or something.
But my family doesn't live in LA, so
that's
eventually
not a me problem.
I'm gonna want. No.
That was cold right there when she said that.
Oh, but you want what's best for Rye, so obviously you want her to see my family too. Your family gets to see Ryder every Christmas. You go to my family that lives in Michigan, it's like, this is the first time where I could get everyone together, bring Ryder, celebrate it all as a family, and I just thought that, it would be nice.
Does Ryder know about this?
Maybe.
Okay, you're just digging a bigger hole.
I mean, but I got everything set up. Like, if you could just do me this one favor, you could have her for Christmas next year.
What if I say no? You wouldn't have liked it if I handled it this way. I don't like how you're handling it. Ryder might have to sit this one out.
You win.
Great.
It's your call.
Great. Thank
your
you.
Call.
It is my call.
The drill sergeant, the drill sergeant, the one that makes all the rules and stuff, that's not a co-parenting situation. I know this is your segment, but
it's not my segment.
Yes, it is.
I don't have these issues.
You don't have to have the issues, sir, but you can give your perspective.
And so can you.
No, I can't. I don't have any kids. So
that's all right. Okay, so you can still give your perspective at what you think a parent should do.
So I would say if he came to her and said that about the kid going to Michigan, first of all, you already know that his family's in Michigan anyway, and the kid never been there on Christmas or whatever. Like I say, this is a little kid. Guess the kid is like 5, 6, 7 years old. I don't know. And the first thing she should have said, well, give me the date so I already know. I already can have her bags packed or whatever. That's the only thing she would have said. I mean, he's a parent.
But she don't want him to go.
Right.
So she got full custody, and I believe majority of the females that has full custody like that, they're not going to give that kid up for the birthday. They're not going to give the kid up for Christmas. It just is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Most of these dads that got to go see their kid on Christmas, they got to go to that lady house like that. Or maybe they get a weekend after Christmas or something like that, or the weekend before Christmas. But on Christmas, those moms are going to want to wake up and have their kid in their house. And the same with birthdays. You can tag along to what I got going on that tip when it comes for a birthday.
Right.
It's fucked up, but it's the way the world is.
I handled it wrong.
So just go continue being in the wrong somewhere else.
Peace. Thank you.
Please get out of my house.
All right, so the next scene is where she's telling her family what happened between her that he wants to take the kid to Michigan. Like I say, I don't have any children or anything yet, but I don't see nothing wrong with it. She already know his family's in Michigan. The only thing that should have came out her mouth is, give me the date so I can make sure her bags are packed. I mean, when y'all going together and all that stuff, you already knew he was the only person there. He don't have any family there.
She don't care about that.
Yeah, like you being a doing correction officer or a drill sergeant or something. Like you
Extra
make the
petty.
rules, right? Yeah, like you make the rules. It's not a joint effort. And he was slick too because he told her he told her like close to when the trip is scheduled. So if he would have told her like a month or 2 months ago, something would have came up, whereas though the kid couldn't go. That's the reason why he ain't saying anything.
Right,
too.
right.
All right, now this scene right here, like I said, is her telling her family what happened. The guy right there that's taking the kid down the step, that's her husband. That's her current husband, and that's their child together.
Cory came over and basically dropped a bomb that he bought Ryder a ticket to go to Michigan for Christmas break.
Did he ask you?
Well, he told me he bought the ticket, he's planned the trip, and talked to Ryder about it, and now this is him asking me.
That means she's not gonna be with us on Christmas?
Well, that's that is the conversation. I get that he
Well, unfortunately, she has a father, and that's the things you have to deal with. There's always another Christmases and birthdays and all that stuff. And hey, when the kid come back, don't open her gifts. Leave the gifts under the Christmas tree and let her open her gifts or whatever.
Wants to experience Christmas with his kids and his family. It's the way you went about doing it that I can't co-parent like that. Like, we've never co-parented like that, so why are you all of a sudden doing it?
Like, you have to put your feelings aside, and, you know, we kind of live by the motto, put the kids first.
So the only guy sitting there is the voice of reason.
Yep. and if that was my wife and my stepkid wanted to spend Christmas, or the stepdad wanted to take her, I would be like, let's go. Let him take his daughter.
Right.
Or let him take his son or whatever. Let him spend some time. Like I said, it's Christmas. He's not going for months. He's going to go, what, a week at the most? A weekend? Whatever the case may be. But you're going to have him back. The tree's still going to be up.
Right, exactly.
The kids.
Like I would have told, like I said, I would have said to her, is like, did you ask him what day we all going? Well, then the day y'all supposed to be going, you should be having her bags packed and at the door. When he show up, she can leave or whatever. I don't understand it myself, but here we go.
First, it sucks. I'm mad.
He ain't mad. He bullshitting.
This one's tough. I'm sorry. I'm struggling because, you know, that's my girl. But Cory's a great dad, and I feel he bends for you as well. You could say why, when he paid.
Oh, she had that look like, no, he don't.
She looking at like, oh shit, now you siding with him. Yeah. You my mom. You supposed to be on my side no matter what the case may
be. The correction officer.
It's for those parties. It helps you pay for those birthday parties. He doesn't fuss. I mean, saying, you know, Cory basically does what you ask. Does he not?
I'm not saying that he's a bad guy. I'm not saying he's a bad father.
Dad.
It's just the way he went about it. That's all.
I know. Negative about him. I'm just saying him.
I know you don't want to hear it, but this is part of co-parenting, is making the sacrifice. So what are we leaning towards? We're leaning towards...
I'm not leaning towards anything. I think I'm just at a point of like, I'm just going to ask Ryder what she wants to do.
So she gonna ask a little kid.
That's
rather
crazy. See, now he'll be petty too, because if he's paying child support, but he also paying for all them parties and everything she keep throwing, he could just say, no, I'm just gonna get my money and I want my kid when I'm supposed to get my kid. And then she gonna lose out on the long run and the kid.
Oh, by the way, he has I think they're married. So I think he has a wife, and I think they have 2 children together.
Mm-hmm.
I wish you were
Her husband looking like, boy, I want to say something, but
You
I'm
should
just gonna
say
keep
it.
the peace.
I would say it. I'd be like, let's go pack her bags and let her spend Christmas with her dad and the other rest of the family that she hasn't met yet.
Yep, that's the only thing that should come out of her mouth. Like, is it what day, what time and date? So let me go on and pack her bag, so when you show up, she can just leave.
And pack one Christmas gift or one from each one of y'all in her bag. So when Christmas pop up, she got one from y'all. Then when she got home, she get the rest.
Right.
I can't stay here.
Santa, so you have to put your name, your age, if you've been nice, naughty, or a little bit of both. Ace, have you been nice, naughty, or both?
Oh, we know.
Yeah, that
Ryder,
sounds about right.
have you been nice, naughty, or both?
Both.
I
At
love
least
the
you
honesty.
guys are honest.
I love the Santa's gonna love the honesty too. You're moving.
Right. Yeah? I want to talk about Christmas with you. You do? I do. I know your dad told you about going on a trip.
I think it sounds cool and exciting.
You think it sounds cool and exciting?
Yeah.
Do you understand that if you go on the trip, you're not going to spend Christmas here or your break here, you're going to be with your dad and his family?
Mind games.
Yep. Make her feel bad to change her mind.
Right. She won't be there with grandmama, mama, and her little brother.
This is the country.
Okay.
I fly all the way to the other side.
Yeah.
What? So this is you, this is me.
I'm going to be on the other side. You can't call me like if you're at your dad's house and say, I want to come home, and I come over and get you. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. We're both really good parents. He's a really good dad. He loves Rye. He loves all his girls. So I have to respect that, and I have to
playing a little mental game there.
Mm-hmm.
What conversation? That first of all, this conversation should have never happened anyway. Like I say, the only thing she should have been like, well, look, you going with your grandmama, whatever they call her, grandma mom or whatever. And I'm going to pack your bags. Well, you know it's cold in Michigan, right? So you're going to need all your winter coats and all that stuff. That's the only thing that should have came out her mouth. Not trying to sway the kid to stay there.
Right. Now, do you watch this?
Yeah, unfortunately, this is my guilty pleasure, sir. And I don't look at it for if like
you get your parental
like,
advice for it, right?
No, absolutely not. Not this shit. Okay, when it comes to like reality shows, I only look at it to see if like the women are cute. Like sometimes I would look at Love and Hip Hop, but I don't even look at that as much anymore. Most of the time, I only look at that if my sister say something like, "Man, you gotta watch Love and Hip Hop this week because blankety blank and all that stuff." She wants me to watch it so we can have a dialogue with each other.
Right. Well, that's how we do with like baddies and all that type of shit.
And what's the Real Housewives of Potomac and Atlanta. See, I only would look at that to see how the women look.
I just fell off on all them shows. I don't watch none of that. I watched the Zeus Network and all they ratchetness.
But this show here, I do look at it, and I don't care about how the women look. This is like kind of like my little guilty pleasure. So yes, I do. That's a confession, ladies and gentlemen. I do watch Teen Mom, the next chapter.
Allow him to.
I was looking at this shit, and I'm like, I can't believe this. Like the only thing that should have came out her mouth is let me know so I can have the girls' bags packed. And then she's going to try to sway the girls' decision of whether to stay. Well, I'm going to be so far away, and you're going to be over there. And if you want to call and say, Mom, I want to come home, I can't get you. She's going to be with her grandmom, her little cousins, and her other. I think Cory has 2 girls. So he's going to be with her 2 sisters. She ain't going to be calling you, asking you to asking you to come and get her. She's going to be having fun.
Create memories with Ryder and his family that are just for them. And because of that, I'm trying not to be selfish in my own feelings. And it's hard. It's hard for me to hide them.
Ain't nothing hard about it, man. All right, so the next clip is her with her decision whether if the girl should go to Michigan or not.
Oh, that's how it's going around here now. Ace, I'm gonna have to talk to you later too.
I just want to say, it was never a problem for her to go and be with you or your family.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
My issue was just
Liar.
the way that you went about it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the reason that we co-parent so well and I want to continue to do, is the way that we communicate.
You know, I could have went about.
See, I thought it was cool that they're so like intertwined with each other, cause like how he said, like the Zach is the father's her husband's name. When he said keep the children first, and they actually do keep the children first. He'll come around with his wife and his 2 kids, and they will all like do stuff, you know, whatever. I thought that was cool that they did that, but I didn't know that she was a damn correctional officer and everything had to go through her.
Differently for sure. Well, I apologize for putting that all on you at once, right? That's not fair for you.
Zach told me earlier that I have to just think about what we always preach, and that's that the kids come first, and that's the only way that this can work. So I talked to Ryder about it, and I asked Rye what she wanted to do. She definitely is excited about going, and I'm not gonna take that away from her.
You tried.
Exactly, and asking the kid that is going to
throwing salt
make
in
that
the wound.
decision.
If you want to come home, I'm not going to get you. You're going to be all the way over here. I'm going to be all the way over here on the other side of the world. Come on, lady.
Right.
Good. So the answer is.
And shout out to Cory because he was being slick too.
Nah, he did right.
Because she would
like you said, if you would have asked her earlier, no, we already got plans on this date, this date.
Yep.
She ain't say nothing the whole time to me. She ain't had no plans.
Mm-hmm. Man, we was gonna go to such and such. Now you gonna mess us up. That's just what would happen.
Yes. But I don't want that to become a trend, especially for like holidays, because Christmas is a big deal.
So in other words, did she just say that I don't want you taking a kid to see your family on holidays?
Pretty much. Don't get used to this.
Shit.
That's what she
said. Damn.
Right.
And
Well, I mean,
I want her too. I think moving forward, ideally, I don't want to start a trend of like, you have her this Christmas and I have her next Christmas, especially if we're both home and we're 10 minutes away from each other.
Well, I don't see nothing wrong with that. What's wrong with that? Do you see that as a problem?
No, because how else she gonna get to know her other family?
Right.
I'm pretty sure grandmama and grandpapa, whoever over there, want to see the baby too.
All right, now, okay. Like she said, they don't live too far from each other. Now, wonder if he wants her to be in the house, you know, with pajamas on and opening gifts and stuff on a Christmas, where he's not going to Michigan. I mean, he's in his own house. Do you see that as a problem?
She want the kid at her house on Christmas every Christmas. That's just the bottom line.
Right.
She want to come downstairs, seeing the kid, getting gifts with the other kid in her house. So even though they only live 10 minutes from each other, if the dad want the kid on Christmas, he gonna have to come over there and watch Christmas with them.
Right. Or Christmas night, he'll pick her up on Christmas night and take it to his crib where they had a tree and the gifts and stuff. Or the next day, one or the other. I don't see nothing wrong if you have her Christmas this Christmas and then I have her on the next Christmas. I don't see anything wrong with that. Hey, look, you got to do stuff like that. If it takes 2 people to have a child, and you have to deal with the stuff he have to go through.
As soon as the kid get of age, not adult, but like I want to say 11, 12, where they can make little decisions and say, "Dad, I want to spend Christmas with my dad. I want to go see grandma in Michigan." Then you can't just say no because I want you here. Let the kid do what they want to do.
Right.
There's no reason to me why Ryder can't experience both of her parents on Christmas Day. The conversation comes into place if one of us want to travel that year. I just think the times where that happens, a conversation is held prior to a conversation with her and prior to a ticket being purchased.
Yes, ma'am. I'll come by, pick her up, grab all her stuff.
That was the drill sergeant. He trying to be slick.
Yeah.
And
yeah, we'll be on our way.
She controls all the pieces on the chessboard.
Wait.
Okay.
The Grinch is here. The Grinch is here. I'm sorry. Yo, you make me feel so bad.
If she had me gonna cry. Alrighty, I'm gonna miss you, okay?
Okay. You're gonna have the best Christmas ever, okay? Just remember to call me. Co-parenting comes with...
I don't know what the hell she crying for, but what the hell?
It's gonna be the first Christmas without her kid. That's why she's crying. You know how
Mhm.
females get emotion. They cry when the kid go to daycare and go to first grade and all that stuff.
Sacrifice.
Okay. I'm proud of you. I am.
It's weird because I have 2 kids, so I have to suck it up and get it together because I still have to make it a good Christmas for my son. But at the end of the day, we're gonna miss her. I'm gonna miss her.
It ain't that hard to make it a good Christmas for a little kid. Just buy them a whole bunch of shit and it's a good Christmas.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's it. Your segment. Thank you for letting me comment on your segment too. So thank you.
It ain't no my segment.
Yes, it is.
I wasn't no teen parent. I ain't got no divorce or no separation. My kids see me every Christmas.
It don't
and
matter.
And a mom every Christmas.
It don't matter, sir. You can give your perspective.
And
as
so
a
can
parent.
you.
No, because I don't have any children. So you have
You
a
can give
child,
your
so you can
give your
break it down.
perspective anyway.
Mm-hmm. No, it don't work like that, sir. You did it right. You did it right. All right, you can reach the Judgmentals on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube at PNL Judgmentals, Instagram at the2_judgmentals, or you can email us at pnljudgmentals@gmail.com. All right, then.
All right. Peace out.
That's why I stay on the low low. Most of y'all is associates, so I be on my dolo. Hold up, woke that whoa, hold the phone. You think all I do is rap? I can do it on my own. That's why I produce the track.